Shoe Time in the Morning with Mitch. How was your Halloween? Was Halloween canceled? Did you do something? Some of you guys were saying you're still going to try and brave going out trick-or-treating. I guess the Halloween Spirit Store, thanks Bianca, had a pole with like a grabber on the end of it. You stick your bag out on the pole and say, I'll take trick-or-treat please. And that way they put the candy in the bag. And then you can pull it back while maintaining social distance. Some of you guys may have gone to or had your own small gathering of tight-knit friends. How did it go? All right? It's a unique year, and we're sympathetic. We are aware that this is unlike any other year for Halloween, and probably unlike any other year you'll ever have for the rest of your life. 7th grade and 8th grade was a very, very unique Halloween for me. I remember it well. Matter of fact, I gotta be honest, I think 7th grade Halloween was the first time my parents said, just go out with your friends trick-or-treating, you guys go do it, as opposed to we're going to send someone, either my sister or an older person with me. My sister used to hate when she had to go when I was in 6th grade because I was cramming her style in high school. But different story, different day. All right? So, hope you had an enjoyable time. Remember, candy is good, as with anything, moderation. Candy is good, tastes good, but it's sugar. It's not very nutrient rich. It's actually no nutrients at all. Probably terrible for you, but it tastes good. All right? Enjoy the candy. Don't eat too much of it at one time. Did you go by the dentist house that gives away toothbrushes? All right, we had at least 4 or 5 people that got toothbrushes as the worst thing they ever got in their bag. So how did that go for you? Anyway, we're going to keep moving here. We got 1 or 2 more muscles to learn about in the weight room. And we're going to learn some principles of our body. Things like cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance, just the whole fitness protocols. And if you look at my personal homepage for Canvas, and I think Mr. Warren-Henley's as well, we have the 5 realms of fitness on there. We're going to learn a little about that. I think Mr. Mitchell may have it on there as well too. We're just going to learn about the whole whammy there. We'll get some movement in. All right, we understand some of you guys are chomping at the bit to try to get some basketball or football in. How are we going to do that here? All right, you've got a basketball court in your room. Can I come over? Well, we're going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, we're doing the best we can. Stay strong. Keep on pushing. Keep a positive attitude. Because Mr. Morton-Henwick,
attitude determines
altitude. All right. So, we're going to keep flying like an eagle. See no evil. All right. We're going to head over to the weight room. Where's that ducker? He's in here. He's in there. He's somewhere here. Keep your eyes peeled for that duck because he's around. He wants to come and work out with us too. And we're going to learn and have a great time. We're glad to have you back with us. All right? I know some of you guys probably have some candy by the screen. Just try not to eat too much of it. I'm a realist, okay? All right? We asked my class, what about Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Morton-Henwick's class? Who here has ever taken more than 1 candy from the Take One Only bowl? Food for thought. Let's go, guys.
quack, quack, quack.
What was your favorite candy, Mr. Morley?
Well, my favorite was when it only happened probably 3 times in my career as a trick-or-treater. But when I looked in that large bowl, there was a king-size Snickers left. And I was at king size. That was the best feeling.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Mr. Mitchell?
I'm an M&M's kind of guy. Love M&M's. Always have.
M&M's.
And I'm still eating M&M's. I'll give out M&M's at Halloween. And anything that the kids don't eat when they come over to the house, I'm keeping them and I'm eating them.
Well, if you got some candy, some M&Ms, some Snickers that you don't like, some Swedish Fish or Sour Patch Kids, feel free to put it in a nice box and toss over to the pool fence. Mr. Shoemaker or Mr. Mitchell or Mr. Morton-Henwick will find it. We'll go through. All right. The one muscle we did not learn about in here is the trapezius muscle. All right. What does the trapezius do? I don't know. Remember? I don't know. All right. So, 2 ways we can work this here. We can work it in the power rack, as our friends always see. All right. For the trapezius muscle, you grab this bar here. Usually you start from the rack there. All right. The muscle's simple. What does it do? I don't know. it pulls the shoulder girdle up and back. So not only just straight up, but up and back. Okay? So, easy thing. You walk up to the bar, you can find your grip the same way we found it in the shoulder press, the same way we found it in the bench press. Just gonna use either your thumbs to spread out on the knurling and smooth part, or the easier way, because you really want them right outside your body on the shrug, is just to use where the knurling and the smooth meet. Same on both sides. Put the webbing of your thumb right there. Both sides. Boom. Now you've got your grip. Walk close to the bar, right? Now, when you pick up, you don't want to use your back. You want to use your legs, all right? Make sure your back's right. Pick the bar up, and then you just simply shrug. Straight up as high as you can go. Hold it for a second. Release. Up. Hold it for a second. Release. Up. Hold it for a second. Release. And then when you're done, lower it gently, and your partner would go. Now your trap runs from your neck all the way down to your deltoid. You can feel it when you lift it up like that. You should squeeze that, call it flexing that, every time you do a repetition. But of course, that's a 45-pound bar, so we got to add some resistance. And good thing we got a couple of 45-pound plates. 45-pound plates for the win. Okay. I'm going to load it up. Same thing on both sides. I'm going to come back, grab my spacing accordingly. I like to use the smooth where the smooth meets the rough. All right.
Hold on, Mr. Shoemaker. I think you forgot the clips.
Mr. Mitchell is correct.
Let me get in here and clip this bad boy for
I'm going to clip the clips there. Put the clips on the end. That way the weights don't fall off. Especially for you young newcomers. Okay. Grab the bar accordingly. I'm going to see, I don't pick up with my back. I bend my knees down so my back is now straight. And then pick the bar up. And then pull up, squeeze, release. Pull up, squeeze, release. Pull up, squeeze, release. And you're going to do that 10 times, 3 sets of 10. Rotate with your partner. That way you get about a minute rest in between. And then when you're done, of course, you're going to put the weight back where you got it from.
Let me help you out, Mr. Shoemaker.
Why, thank you, sir. There for safekeeping right now. Okay, now, the other way we can work this, we know we got free weights, we have a machine. Now, the traps run your whole area there. If we are able to show Mr. Moore-Hindley, you want to show right here, if you could step in there. On our anatomic chart, right? The traps run up the neck, but they also run down the middle of the back. So here, the blue is all trap and also in the middle of your back, all right? So what that means is it controls not only the upward movement, but the backward movement too. So up and back. Now, to work that as a machine, we're going to come right over to our seated row machine. Right? We know the weight stack. We're familiar with weight stacks. We've gone over it. This weight stack is labeled, just like every other weight stack is labeled. This one goes in 10s. So, what I'm going to do is go to a weight that's comfortable for me. I'll just pick a weight that I know I can do just to demonstrate. And we'll just put it actually right there. Let's go 70 just for grins. Put it there. Okay? Now, you're going to come sit on the platform. Okay. This machine adjusts 2 ways. Height-wise, to lift me up, and I want to make sure the pad is in the middle of my chest, which it happens to be, so I don't have to adjust. But if I were 6'5", I might have to lower the seat. All right, if I were 4'9", I might have to raise the seat. But right, perfect for me. Now, it adjusts for closeness to the handles. Pick this up, closeness to the handles. All right, and what you're looking for is, if I'm here and my arms are extended, the weight is at the bottom. So that means every time I do a rep, it's going to go slam, slam. So I want to pull back far enough to where I can barely reach the handles when it's at the bottom. That way when they're in my hands and I'm fully extended, that the weight stack will still be high enough for me to do the workout, keep the tension on my trapezius and also my rhomboids, and also not let the weight slam. So I'm going to reach over with one hand and grab it with the other hand. I'm going to use my weight to get it back and sit in a comfortable position, and then I'm just going to roll, full extension. All right? If you see, I'm at full extension, and Mr. Moonaway, if you could show the weight stack, there's plenty of room, so that way it won't make a slamming noise. Now, all I'm going to do is begin the motion with my trapezius, because that's the muscle I'm working. Pull back with my trapezius, there it is, and then continue the motion by bending my elbows all the way through. All right? And then you would do sets of 10. Now, how can you know you're at the right weight? We've talked about it before. Let's have our teachers talk about it with you at the very end. All right? How do you know you're using the right amount of weight when you do any of these machine exercises or free weight exercise? Now, if you know that was too easy, you want to raise the weight to something that's a little bit more challenging. All right, I'll just put it here. I don't know what that is, but Mr. Shoemake just knows he can do more than that. So just demonstration purposes. All right, same thing is occurring. Make sure you're at the right distance away. All right, I'm going to reach over and grab it. Use my weight to get it down. I want to be straight up. My spine is erect. My chest is on the pad. Using my triceps to start the motion, and then my biceps will finish the motion. Then you do 9, 10, that's fast forwarded, and you slowly lower the weight down so it doesn't slam. And then I let my partner get it. 3 sets of 10 for this as well. And there are 2 joints moving. So is that an isolation or a compound movement? You tell us. All right, so trapezius, trapezius, and remember, you can also, well, you can do dumbbells too. Let's show them the dumbbells while we're here, and that'll be our last one. We have a row of dumbbells in here. All right, some of them are being used in different rooms right now, but a row of dumbbells, same thing could be done. If you grab 2 equal dumbbells, put them in your hands next to your body, all right, and then you use your shoulders, same motion. Up, down, slow and controlled. Up, down, up, down. And that's the same thing, except for a little bit less weight, but independent stabilization.
And what do they call that? What is that motion called?
That's called a shrug.
Shrug.
So you have the dumbbell shrug, you have the barbell shrug in the power rack, or the seated row machine. All right, let's head back to headquarters, guys.
Yeah, I've been talking to my kids nonstop about what weight is the perfect way.
You guys should know.
All about that 10th repetition, kids. You know that. It's all about the 10th one.
You know it, you know it. Well, the gym misses you guys. We miss you guys in the gym.
War ball central.
All right, got some weights in here. You can do some dumbbell stuff in here. All right, it's all good stuff. All right, well, Jolly Geographer, what is on your mind? A skull, some hair, and a hat. You're still in the Halloween mode. Woo! Did you guys get Big Sur? How many of you guys have been to Big Sur? Big Sur is a beautiful beautiful, beautiful place, right? You got to get out there and check it out. All right? We like to hike. Mr. Mitchell and I for sure like to hike. How many of you guys like to get out and hike? We're in a unique situation. You got to get out and explore our beautiful geography. Okay, one question that I have for you is, in the Bay Area, another beautiful landmark that we have is a city that's known as the garlic capital of the world. What is the garlic capital of the world? Right here in the Bay Area, close to home.
Nice. Sports fact, what do you got?
I'm sticking with football. All right. Now, 2 questions. One of them's pretty easy, and the second one's not as easy. First one, how many players are on a football team? I mean, on the field, how many players? Second question, offensively, you have the ball. Name all the different positions those players on offense can be. Name all the positions for an offensive team.
That's nice.
There you go.
Be a lot of answers there. That's
Absolutely. There's a lot of positions on that offense.
Guys, before the joke gesture gets to tell his joke, I have one more question for you guys. What is the very first memory that you can recall in your whole life? Go back as young as you can think of. What's the very first memory you have as a human being?
The very first memory you have as a human being.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me change that. What's the first memory that you had or have had as a human being?
I remember it clearly, actually, Mr. Moore.
All right.
I was 3 years old. We had moved to Cleveland, Ohio for exactly 1 year. My father worked for IBM out here, and he became a professor of computer engineering at Case Western Reserve for 1 year on loan from IBM as a professional lean or whatever you call it. And we were living around the corner from my grandmother, who lived there. My dad was actually born there. And my mother would make these delicious salads. And she would use cherry tomatoes, and I love cherry tomatoes. Now, the memory is, I used to sneak on the table. My mom would put the salad out and go back and get the rest of the food. And if I was starving, I knew she would go back. I'd run and take the cherry tomatoes off the salad and then run out like I hadn't done anything. And so my first memory is, I had a cherry tomato, it was about in front of my mouth, and she popped out of the kitchen because she had forgotten to do something. And I was stuck with a cherry tomato in my hand. And that's the very first memory that I had.
Busted.
Busted indeed.
Busted indeed. How about you, Mr. Mitchell?
I was also 3, but it wasn't stealing cherry tomatoes.
Borrowing.
Permanently borrowing cherry tomatoes. It was, sadly, a painful memory. It was, in the old days, God, I have to say that now, I have to say the old. Once upon a time, in the old days, they delivered milk to your house.
They did.
They had a milkman, and that milkman would come in a big white refrigerated truck, and the milk was kept actually in ice. And it was like bottles of milk, 6 of them, into a little metal container. And the milkman would walk up to your house, and each house would have a little metal box. And you'd open up the box, and you'd put the milk in there, and then you had your milk for the day, or for a couple of days, depending upon how many days a week you need the milk delivered. And when I was 3, I remember I wanted to help my parents bring the milk in. And I didn't tell them. They were doing whatever they were doing in the kitchen. And I walked out to the porch, I grabbed one of the milk bottles, and it was icy and slippery, and it let go right out of my hand. And as I tried to grab it, the bottle shattered, and a big giant chunk of milk ice went right into my forearm, and I ended up with 22 stitches. And I remember my father grabbing me and running me down the street to the local doctor. They even had local doctors back then, and running me to his house. And I'm sitting there bleeding all over him and running to this house, and then having my entire arm stitched up by the doctor.
Ooh, that'll do it.
That's memories there. Like sometimes, a lot of times, your first memory is either really painful or really good. You know.
Well, mine is this. I was born in Houston, Texas, lived there until I was about 2, then we moved to Boston, Massachusetts. I gained an accent in Boston, and then we moved here to California. I was about in kindergarten. Well, in kindergarten, they put me in speech class because they thought I had a speech impediment. I used to say my R's like aw, like caw, or wed.
Park the car.
Pop the car. I used to speak like that. Well, when I moved here to California, they weren't used to that accent, so they put me in speech class. I'll never forget this. In kindergarten, the speech therapist said, Brad, if you can say your R's correctly, like R, each time you do, you'll get a little piece of candy. It was a little hard piece of candy. So I just started saying my R's like R. Very simple.
Candy,
well,
you got it.
This speech therapist found out after 2 sessions that I was just having the Boston accent. So that's one of my very first memories. I got a number of pieces of candy pretty easily and pretty quickly. Guys, why do bees hum? Why do bees hum?
Why do they?
Well, because they can't remember the lyrics. One last principle to share with you guys before we let you go. Unique begins with you. Unique begins with the letter U, but also unique means you. I've talked to my class. Think about this. Every one of you have a unique thumbprint. There's not another thumbprint in the world like yours. Now, there might be other Freds or Wilmas, even maybe a Fred and Wilma with the same last name as you, but it's not the same in terms of that person being you or you being that person. So, here's the point. You are unique. You should celebrate that. You have unique desires and levels of knowledge and experience in life, so you should celebrate that. Nothing wrong with looking at someone else and saying, hey, I want to be like them, as long as they're HR squaring, but you cannot be them. So remember, unique begins with you. All right? That reminds me of a song. Remember that song? Just you and me. Just you and me.
Whoa, what is going on here? What are we doing here?
Oh, we're building healthy relationships.
What's the purpose of our art?
HR squared.
Honesty, respect, responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, keep on pushing. Be a better you today than you were yesterday, and we will see you soon. Push on 3. 1, 2, 3.